Hi, this is Makonas Pokani, the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. Today, I want to just deal with how to identify that you appointed poor leaders in your church, how to become aware that you have appointed poor leaders in your church or in your ministry. And I've said yesterday, as I was dealing with the other topic yesterday about things that contribute towards the falling of the churches. And I actually mentioned that there are those churches where poor leaders have been appointed. Now, today I want us to deal with how to then know that you have appointed wrong leaders in the church. And I must emphasize that when you have appointed wrong leaders, it will be evident and it will be easy to identify. And therefore, we want to speak about those so that you be able to identify. Because as soon as you identify, you may need to reshuffle your leadership. You may need to fire them. You may need to change them as well. Because it's very important to have right leadership in the right positions. Because if you've chosen wrong people and therefore you continue with them, you're basically exposing your ministry to fall. Now, how do you then identify that you've chosen wrong leaders? The first one is when leaders sit back and they allow things to go wrong. And they allow things to go wrong. They're folding their arms. They allow things to go wrong. When things are going wrong, they're not intervening. They are not actually stepping in and doing something to make sure that things are corrected. Instead, they fold their arms. They want to see things going wrong. And there are those that even encourage wrong to happen. There are those that when wrong is happening, they fold their arms and say, I don't care. And therefore, because they don't care, then things continue going wrong. And therefore, you'll realize that these are wrong people. Now, people that are wrong and they're allowing wrong things to happen, sometimes it's because of a wrong spirit, that they're competing with you as a leader instead of supporting you. So therefore, they are happy when things are going wrong so that you can be exposed yourself. And remember, you've chosen these guys to become your leaders. You've chosen these people to become part of your board, a leadership board. Instead of being proactive and being part of making sure that things continue working, they are allowing things to go wrong. And things, when they go wrong, the ministry is getting destroyed in front of their eyes. And they don't care. And that is a sign that you've chosen wrong people in your leadership. Secondly, it is leaders that will allow you to do mistakes and go behind your back to criticize. Those type of leaders that will actually leave you to make a mistake. When you are actually approaching something and working on something, they are aware that you'll make a mistake, but they let you make that mistake. And they don't actually warn you of the mistake. And when you've done the mistake, then they go around, laugh at it, and therefore even criticize you behind your back with the members and with other people. And these are wrong members of leadership. If you've appointed people that do that, you must know that these people are working against you instead of working with you. These are the people that are destroying your ministry instead of building the ministry. So therefore, be careful of people like that. And if you are able to identify people like that much earlier, please make sure that you fire them from your leadership group and make sure that you remove them. And don't be afraid to do so, because you're not going to hang around with people that are destroying the ministry. If they are going to allow you to make mistakes, and then when you've made mistakes, then they laugh about it, they criticize you, they go around telling other people about your mistakes, these are wrong people. And they are not worthy to become people in your leadership board. So please be bold enough to remove them. Leaders who will share confidential issues with people not in leadership positions. Now, when you have got leaders in the church, you've got leaders that you've appointed, you've got leaders that should support you in the vision, but they tend to be spending more time with people that are not in leadership. And they're telling them confidential matters about this ministry, things that are not for public consumption, but they're taking them out of leadership positions, and they go and tell the members things that are confidential. Things like financial matters that have gone wrong. Maybe there are some financial matters that are not balancing, and you're still looking at what has happened. You're still investigating. But if you're having a leader that will go around and tell the members that money is missing already in the board or in the church, the people that will stare and instigate people to make people to get wroth and angry to fight against leaders, that cannot be right leaders. Now, this type of leaders, you find them in some of the churches. They've been appointed. They are part of leadership, but yet they gossip a lot with people that are not in the leadership. They go around and gossip with the congregants, and they speak confidential matters, and sometimes confidential matters that concerns the pastor. And they will speak about the family of the pastor and how it is not working, that family, how the family is crumbling, how the family is not healthy, and so on. And those are confidential matters, things that are not for public consumption. But when leaders or somebody from the leadership start going around telling the congregation about the marriage of the pastor not working and all the confidential stuff about the marriage of the pastor, that person is not the right leader. And I must really say that we have in many of them, in many churches in leadership positions, but they've been wrongly appointed. So please remove them and appoint the right people in the right positions as well. But these are things that you will identify that these are wrong people in these positions, and therefore deal with them earlier and make sure that you remove them quickly. There's also those type of leaders, the leaders who are unable to sacrifice time and their resources for the vision. Now, there are those leaders that you have appointed to be leaders in your church. You have appointed them to be leaders in your ministry, but they cannot sacrifice their time. Their time is their time. Their family time is their family times. They cannot sacrifice even when the church needs them. There are times when the church needs you more, and that you should be able as a leader to sacrifice your time and be available even though you were not available, but because the church needs you desperately. And this is very important, that leaders be able to sacrifice. Not only to sacrifice their time, no. We're speaking about sacrificing your resources as well. There are times when the church needs your car to sacrifice and to do some work. So please sacrifice and use your car. And therefore, there are other things like accommodations, therefore sacrificing your house, sacrificing your own money for the sake of the ministry vision. So if it actually calls for that, leaders should actually be volunteering to say, I'll be part of that, I'll be able to support, I'll be able to contribute, because you understand the needs of the ministry than the congregants. And that is why we want to emphasize that leaders should be understanding the church and the vision of the church more than the congregants. So therefore, when it comes to sacrifice, leaders should sacrifice easily, because they would understand the needs of the ministry. So if you're having leaders that cannot sacrifice at all, then you are having wrong leaders in your board, having wrong leaders in your leadership board. So therefore, make sure that you replace them and you appoint the right people in the right positions. That's very key, because when you have got the right people, they are going to support the ministry. Some are leaders who do not set an example in character at all. Now, when you speak about character, you speak about behavior. You're speaking about ability to respect themselves, even in behavior, conduct. So when you speak about conduct, you're speaking about ethics of life. So therefore, it is very important that the leadership become exemplary in nature, that everything that they do, they lead by example. So people can look up to them knowing that this man or this woman is a leader, and I can follow them therefore because they are setting an example. They are an example, living example that we can follow, that we can be part of their lives because they are right people in the right positions. Now, I want to emphasize this because this becomes therefore very crucial, that we emphasize that as a leader, you need to really be able to sacrifice time. You really need to be setting an example in character and good reputation as well. That's very key. Now, therefore, if you're having people that are forever scandalous in your leadership board, they are going to mess up the ministry itself and they are going to destroy it. So therefore, be careful and make sure that you appoint right people in right positions. That's very, very important. Leaders who fail to report their absence are not right people. Because as a leader, you must know that you are needed in the church. You must know that you are necessary. So therefore, if you are not available, say so. If you're not going to be there, say so. So please tell the people that you're not going to be there so that people don't expect you when you're not going to be there. And this is very important because there are many people that are actually in leadership positions, but you don't know their whereabouts. You don't know where they are. And there are church services that they're not in, but we don't know where they are. Conferences taking place in our churches, they are not there and we don't know where they are. And these are the key things that we need to look at and say, therefore, we need to be very careful and say, are these people leaders indeed? Are these people supposed to be in leadership positions? Because if we cannot know where they are, and their whereabouts is forever doubtful, we don't know, and that's not people that are supposed to be in leadership. Because people that are in leadership, we should know at all times where they are. So therefore, they must be able to report when they're not going to be there. And we can't actually keep guessing and second guessing and so on where the leader is. The leader should be proactive enough to tell us where they are. So that's the right thing to do. And I must emphasize that in many churches, you find leaders that just disappear and we don't know where they are. And I want to urge you, Pastor, if you are even leaders like that, so please fire them, remove them, and appoint people that will be responsible, people that will tell you when they're not going to be there, or people that will actually report their absence so that you can be able to know when they are there and when they're not there. Very, very important. Leaders who discourage other people participating in activities. I'm sure you know some of this. And I'm sure in many churches you have actually experienced this. That these people are leaders, but yet they discourage others from participating in church activities. They're having actually caucuses after churches. They are speaking bad about the church, about the pastor, about everything in the church, discouraging people from participating. When people participate, they always go to them and say, no, you're going to get tired. So therefore, we are like that, and we started like that as well. But along the way, we gave up because we were tired, and you're going to be tired as well. So please sit down. Don't participate. Don't. And you know people like that discourage others from participating. So those cannot be leaders. And if it's a leader that discourages other people from participating in activities, that's the wrong leader. I've seen people recently or lately that are even discouraging people of giving tithes into the church. And some of them are leaders of churches. Some of them are leaders in the church, appointed to be leaders, but yet they discourage people from giving tithes. They discourage people from giving money. And the church needs money, but yet they discourage the people from giving. And that cannot be proper leaders either. And I must really say, it is very, very important that we scrutinize our leaders, and therefore those that discourage people from participating in activities of the church, they cannot be leaders. Leaders who oppose even progressive ideas. When you are suggesting something progressive, when you're suggesting something that needs to happen, they're forever on the opposite side of things. They're forever discouraging. They're forever saying this cannot happen. They're forever using their own experiences of failure, and therefore they would forever discourage and say this cannot happen. Now, I know people of that, of like that, the people that forever fail to encourage, people that are discouraging at all times. And these are the people that are never going to lead you anywhere. So if you are a visionary running a church and having people like this that don't appreciate progressive ideas, these are the people that are going to fail you going forward. So please be careful of those, and please isolate them now rather than later. Leaders who are not prepared to dirty their hands to develop the vision. I know of people like that. They don't want to be involved. And we have spoken about it, that they don't want to be involved in activities. So therefore, they don't want others to be involved in activities as well. So these are leaders that fold their arms. They are very important people that they are actually behaving like VIPs in the kingdom, whereby they fold their arms instead of becoming part of the work of the ministry. They are not. They are forever dictating and telling other people what to do, but they cannot do themselves. And that cannot be proper leaders, because leaders should be able to dirty their hands and be part of the great work of the ministry and set an example by real work, doing it with their own hands, and therefore people will follow suit. I want to end up here today. Your host, Michael Spokane. Thank you very much for listening to us and being part of this great topic. And I hope that you've learned quite a bit out of it, and you shall join us as we deal with other topic going forward tomorrow. And I want to say also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you click that notification button as well, so that when we post videos going forward, you'll be notified and be able to follow us. May the good Lord bless you. Allow me to say cheers for now.